So the big information that was broken on NewsX just a while ago, as per our sources, there were 47 National Testing Agency officers that the Education Ministry was likely to sack. As per our sources, well, that news stands confirmed. In fact, the Education Ministry has announced, in fact, there are going to be 47 National Testing Agency officials that are going to be sacked. This is the big decision by the Education Ministry. There is going to be an overhaul of the National Testing Agency. Within a span of 1 month, there are new officials that are going to be recruited in the National Testing Agency. Well, let's get in my reporter on this news. My reporter to please introduce himself.
Hello. What we're learning is that the Ministry of Education has decided to sack at least 47 of its employees who were working for the National Testing Agency, the premier testing agency, which is responsible for conducting the NEET examination. And this is happening after the NEET paper leak that sort of rocked the nation, and over 22 lakh students as well who were put to a lot of distress. Now, what we're learning is that a series of actions that the government has been taking. In fact, yesterday we saw the Secretary of the Higher Education Department was reshuffled, and now we are even the Joint Secretary as well. And now we are seeing that at least 47 employees are all set to be fired. Now, these 47 employees, what we're learning, most of them are not temporary employees. In fact, the NTA, the way it functions, the organization of the NTA is such that around 30 odd employees are the permanent employees around which the NTA's whole organization is built. And there are certain need-based temporary hiring as well, which is done by the NTA whenever that is required. Now, what we're learning is that this particular the NTA is all set for an overall. And to start with, at least 47 of such employees, mostly temporary employees, have been fired right now by the Ministry of Education. And within a month, what we're learning is that a whole restructuring process of the Premier Testing Agency would be rolled out, so that in order to ensure a better structure, a better organization that sort of is able to deal with examinations like
All right, Atul, stay on with me. More information coming in. Legal and criminal action will also be taken against some of these officials out of the 47 officials that have been sacked. This is part of a complete overhaul of a national testing agency that has been in controversy over the NEET paper leaks. Quickly coming back to you, Atul, what are the legal and criminal action that is going to be taken against some of these 47 officials that have been sacked?
It's well known now that the paper leak essentially happened because of some of the visiting professors and experts who were invited by the NTA, the agency, for setting the question paper of the NEET UG. Now, what we're also learning is that obviously those are under the radar and they have been facing action by the government and the agencies. But what we're also learning is that the investigation and the wires of connection has also reached some of the employees who were also working for the NTA. Some of them, obviously, the number is not clear yet, but some of them permanent employees, some of them temporary employees. The connection of these certain professors and experts who were invited, their connection and their wires are supposed to be are assumably also connected to these certain employees. And what we're learning is these employees are being identified as part of the investigation, and so has this action first been initiated of firing them, and then later on what we can also see is that provisions of the law would also be unleashed.
Okay, all right, Atul, thank you very much for giving us this update.